Send it to my certification first. Okay. It's reading online. Okay, he's reading online. Or?
Yes, he's already on. We just can't, I think he minimized the screen.
Mayor, I have 5:30.
All right. This time I'll call this special meeting of the Harlingen City Commission, which is duly posted to order. I'll go to citizen communication.
The first one is Alex Meek, 6770 West Expressway 83, certificate of deposits and wants, but I think he's present.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Alex Mead. I'm the Executive Vice President of Public Funds at Texas Regional, and I'm just here as a resource in case anybody has any questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mead.
The next one is Ron Lozano, 2410 Riverside Drive Investments, and I believe he's present too.
I don't know if someone from Texas Regional Bank can be taken at his word, but he just said that he would be here as a resource. Is that correct, Mayor?
To the commission as a resource.
Oh,
to
you
the city
only
commission.
deal with city commissions? You don't deal with the public? Well, it's all right, Bobby. I'll tell him, I saw him last night. I'll tell him you don't like people. And you don't. Now, someone of the same kin indicated last time that who would have ever heard of negative interest rates? Well, the European Central Bank and Japan have had negative interest rates since 2014. So I know someone in the commission tried to contest that he's a financial wizard, but I'm not so certain that one of y'all up there is a financial wizard. Thank you very much.
Next one is Robert Lethwich, 909 East Parkwood, Public Funds Investment Policy.
Robert Lethwich, 909 East Parkwood. Last week, or the last meeting, I think I read from the city's policy, the public investment policy that's been adopted. And now I've reviewed the state section on the government code 2256. And obviously there's some emphasis on yield. There's some emphasis on liquidity, so security and collusion, which prevents or is supposed to help prevent fraud. The fact is, we talk about that the interest rate and the fact that it's a CD brings in a maturity date. The interest rate is below the Fed rate, which conflicts and does not comply with our city investment policy, which stipulates that it's supposed to be 3 times the Fed rate. The fact is that the taxpayers have been losing money on this investment. The oversight requirement for the state code says that there's supposed to be an annual review and an ordinance resolution adopting that review of the investment, the public fund investment policy. I don't think that's been happening. Mayor, I'm sure that you know where every penny of city tax dollars is being tucked away. because you tend to like to spend that money. But the fact is that this investment policy does not comply with the state law. And worse than that, we're not even complying with the policy that's been adopted. And we've lost taxpayers' money because we're getting a sub yield to what should be expected for public funds. And I look forward and I applaud the commission for taking this action to do this investigation, because we definitely could spend that money in other places around the city other than letting it churn in a local bank where tens of thousands of dollars over the last 20 years of donations have come in to support your campaigns. Thank you.
All right, that's good. That's all of our citizen communication. So we go to item 1, which is discussion, possible action to hire Safe Track LLC, DBA Safe Global Services to provide professional consulting services to perform a compliance review of the City of Harlingen public funds investment policy and all investments in public funds by the City of Harlingen, including certificates of deposit, which are subject to the Texas Public Funds Investment Act.
Okay, Mayor, so I asked for this item. I called for this meeting, special meeting, because I wanted to ask the commission to hire this company to do a full review of our investment policy, see if we're compliant, see if basically we did all the processes correctly. Just because what I see or the way I read everything, I don't think we're in compliance, right? And I think it's an opportunity to fix what needs to be fixed and have our money in its best possible place. So that's why I wanted to present this. And I think the company's here. If commission had any questions on their ability or their background. So that's basically it, why I wanted to have this meeting.
Okay, before we get to that, I'd like to, so the basis of this is and looking into these certificates of deposit. And so the staff has provided some information.
Yes,
that
I
I
provided
think
a
would be
packet.
relevant to the discussion. And
yes,
I'd
there's a
like-
packet,
like to
on the
hear what they
table.
have to say.
Yes, there's a packet on the table that outlines the steps that we took and the rates, comparable rates to what we ended up getting at Texas Regional Bank. So in your packet, there's a 5-year summary of all of the cash and investments that have been done from 2017, 2018, 19, 20, 21, and 22. So when the CD matured at the end and the fourth quarter of 2020, the rates at Frost National Bank were 0.0001, which is close to 0 as you can get. Tex Pool was at 0.147, and the Texas Regional Bank was at 0.46. So that's the decision that we made to go to that higher rate. So if you go to the 2020 tab, CD renewal, it has a comparison of what we had at the time, which was BBVA, which was at 0.20%. The renewal rate was at 0.20%. Plains Capital was at 0.10%. Lone Star National Bank, 0.3%. Texas Regional Bank was at 0.46%. And the Tex Pool was at 0.15%. And the US Treasury was at 0.12%. So in comparing those, I mean, we did our due diligence in the guiding principles that guide us when we're making these decisions are framed in our investment policy. So yes, we are guided by safety, liquidity, and yield. So the safety, the CD is collateralized by 104% of the value. So we have 250 in FDIC insurance coverage and a letter of credit from the Federal Home Loan Bank of Dallas of $5 million. So it is secured by 104%. So that's a safety.
Can I stop you right there?
Yes.
Because the package, okay, that's a third party, right? That's a third party agreement. And the one you provided,
The Federal Home Loan Bank,
yeah, the
that is,
FHL bank?
that is, that,
Okay, so if you
that is
look
how
at
it
the
works.
packet that I got, I don't know what your packet says, right? The one you just gave me right now has Texas Regional Bank on the first page, City of Harlingen typed out. It is stamped by Mr. Talbert from Texas Regional Bank. It's got your signature, but there's no signature from the bank. And it literally says.
that's sent to.
It literally says it's an application, not an insurance. But if I'm assuming that a three-party agreement needs 3 signatures to be valid.
Yeah,
So do you have an original copy of the signature? I mean, of the 3 parties?
the original is kept at Federal Home Loan Bank in Dallas. It's the,
Well, why would you not have a copy of that?
we've been asking for it. We're trying to get
Okay,
it.
but so, again, this is my bad thoughts in my mind. I go get a line of credit at the bank for TVs and license or whatever. I gotta sign 2 or 3 documents to get that. I go buy a car at a bank, that's 25 pages. I go mortgage my house, that's 50 pages. This is $5 million. And you don't have a file, you don't have a copy. How does the bank not give you an original copy or at least something that says, when I ask a question, here you go, sir, here's your answer. That's $5 million.
We can ask him what the process is for.
But I'm not, it's not his responsibility,
Mhm.
okay? So that's one concern I have, okay? But, so you're stating that it's collateralized, but the documents that you're using to support that don't support it.
I mean, we don't get the actual securities.
Well, that's a problem. We need to fix that process, right? And this is maybe something inherited that maybe you didn't do, or it's the way it's always been done. But we need to be more transparent, more accurate, more organized.
I mean, we have contacted Federal Home Loan Bank to get a copy of it, and we've
But
contacted,
can you see where I would have an issue with it?
well, I mean, we wouldn't keep the original.
You can have a copy of it.
Yeah, I mean, we
I
have
mean,
the
they have
application.
$5 million of our money.
Yeah.
How do they not, in one document, they can't provide you a document?
I mean, we've been trying to get it. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sorry, go ahead with your
Okay.
presentation.
So in 2020, when the CD matured, we went out to procure, investment rates in the market. And at the time, Texas Regional Bank was the highest. It's like it's about, let's see. It's about, to text pool, 0.15% compared to 0.46, and the US Treasury 0.12 compared to 0.46. So that was an easy decision. We went on and we went with that CD. So then in 2021, when it matured, we did the same thing. And I've attached emails and communications where we went out and did the market pricing. So then in September 2021, the current rate was 0.46. The renewal rate was at 0.13, but we actually got it at 0.25. Plains Capital was at 0.10. Lone Star was at 0.10. Text Pool that was at 0.02. And the 1-year US Treasury was at 0.08. So again, it was the highest rate. So that's why we decided to go with that rate. I also provided a statement that shows the statement of CD and a historical of starting in September 20, the interest that we gained from that CD. I've also provided a historical of text pool average performance, which that CD is above those. I provided a historical printout of the US Treasuries, and it's on the 1-year column. And then the investment policies. You all requested to see when it was changed. The girls and the ladies at the city secretary's office went through all of the resolutions binders beginning in the 1960s and went forward. And so they did find it's always been delegated to the finance director. There hasn't been any change. And on the investment policy, I've listed out the times that they've had resolutions on there. But in every single one that I've gone through, it's always been delegated to the finance director. It's never been changed. So just to recap, I mean, when we went out to get the CD, it was based on the framework of the investment policy, which states safety, liquidity, and yield. And it was a high yield, at the highest yield at the time. The liquidity, it was only 5 million compared to the 60 million that we had at the bank. and at
Were you
Texaco.
able to find the CD policy?
There, I don't know where that CD
Because
policy
this
doesn't exist.
policy references the CD policy.
Yeah, I couldn't find one, and it
So,
wasn't in
again,
existence.
Do you see where the policy, it's like whoever put this together, copy and pasted and kind of Frankenstein the policy together.
Yeah.
That is trying to make it fit, I guess, for our needs, but it wasn't very
But the
thorough.
established policy that we have is going
But
out
it
to the
ref-
market
but
and
it-
getting
again,
the
but it
prices, and that's what we
references-
did. So we did follow the
When you're
established
talking
policy.
about, when you're talking about the authority that you say you have, it references the CD policy.
Right.
That doesn't exist, but that we don't have.
Well, we have an established policy of.
No, that's a correct statement. We don't have a city policy. We just have the investment policy
But
commission.
this-
Yeah, and it's probably shouldn't have been on there.
But it is, that's the
Yeah.
problem. It literally states in our policy that we have a CD policy. Whether it should be there or not, that's why we need to review it. We need to make sure that we're in compliance with state and federal laws and that we're doing the right thing. Okay, it's not just a simple document, in my opinion, right?
Well,
This is a document that has several moving parts in every single section. I'm not that guy to make those decisions, but even myself, carefully reading through it, can see problems with it, right? This is, your responsibility, right? The previous city finance director was here for 30+ years or however long she was here. And she stayed over a long period of time to kind of intertwine you. But even having said that, I just don't think it's put together very well, at least for what we deserve or what I expect.
Right.
And I don't think it has the best practices available. Right? And
It does
that's why I
comply-
want to hire a professional company that's going to come in and go through every single step, make sure that everything's in compliance, report back to the commission and say, this is what we need to address to put us into compliance and how we can better handle our money.
Okay.
It's very simple because when you're moving that kind of money, millions of dollars, right? And it's like, I'll give you an example with the red flag I had was when I found out Waterworks has $9 million out, right? Waterworks came to us because they said they didn't have any money to do their drainage products, but they had an extra $9 million to put into a CD. That is wrong. And they're a part of the city. Okay. And I understand the airport, but it had $250,000. And that number struck me as odd because why is it only $250,000? Because it has to get insured by the FDIC or the FDIC wouldn't insure anything after $250,000.
Right.
Which again, questions the collateralization. And is it actually collateralized?
Yes. it is.
And okay, I know, but what you're providing to me right now at this point doesn't show it.
Right, but I could get it from the.
I know, but I met with you 2 weeks ago
Right,
to prepare for the last meeting. Didn't come prepared. And now we had another week to get this meeting, right? So that's, I really don't want to go back and forth. I didn't want it to be that long of a meeting or that detailed because it is very complicated. And I just want to suggest to the commission that I see enough here to warrant a review, a compliance review, to make sure that we're doing the right, it's that important. Okay, that to me, right? To making sure that we're doing the right thing with our money. So.
all right, well, I want to go back over a couple of things that Robert reported on. First of all, the investment policy that the city commission approved in April of 2021,
correct.
just less than a year ago, unanimously, I might add, was sent for review to Hilltop Securities, our investment advisors. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. And that's in one of the tabs under investment policy.
Okay, and so Ann Burr Entrican, who's been our financial advisor at Hilltop Securities, which is a very well-respected financial advisor that deals in municipal finance on a regular basis, reviewed the policy, and they said that it was in compliance with with Texas law.
Yes.
Okay, and so because our local policy delegates the processes to where to place the funds with the finance director you did. So some things have been reported to the newspaper, and there's some allegations that have been made that are incorrect, such as this was a below market rate that was being given by Texas Regional. It clearly was not a below market rate.
No,
correct?
it's not.
In fact, the U.S. Treasury rate in 2020 was 0.12%, almost. And the Texas Regional rate was almost 4 times the U.S. Treasury rate at 0.46%. It was certainly higher than the BBVA renewal rate. It was more than double what the BBVA renewal rate was, 20%. It was 4.5 times the rate that Plains Capital offered. And it was about 50% higher than the rate that Lone Star National Bank offered at 0.3%.
That's right.
Similarly, and so also to kind of make sure the public understands what's going on here, we basically have our money in three different pots, right? One pot is, let's call it our checking account at Frost Bank, correct?
Right.
That's the operating account. That's what we write checks for out of our everything that we need to
That is correct. Yes.
payroll, current obligations, and so forth. The second pot is the largest pot, and it is and those monies are held in tax pool.
Textbook.
The tax pool is operated by the state of Texas to hold money for municipalities. I believe over 3,000 municipalities have their funds with tax pool. And so the $5 million we're talking about was probably about 10% of the total funds that we have that we hold. We do hold a general fund. We hold a general fund balance. Again, most recently by resolution by the City Commission in August of this last year, that while we've always done it, we codified it by this commission unanimously approving a resolution to hold 120 days worth of funds. So we need to hold funds. There are other funds that you hold that are restricted, correct?
Right. That's correct.
That can't be sent. So this is not like there's a bunch of spare money laying around.
No.
We still have a very tight budget. Isn't that correct, Mr. City Manager?
Yes.
Okay. So what we're really talking about is, okay, how did we get into this Texas Regional Bank CD? And it was obviously because it was a much higher rate than was being paid by tax pool, which in September of 2020 was 0.15%. And so the Texas Regional Bank CD was 3 times higher than what was offered. In September of 2021, the tax pool rate was 0.02%. And you got a 0.25% rate from Texas Regional. So that's 10 times the rate that tax pool was paying. So I'm going to, I let you finish. I'm going to ask you to let me finish. So I congratulate you.
Thank you.
On shopping a good rate and getting a good rate for the citizens of our community. So to summarize, there are only three funds where our monies are parked. You have backup, you have emails to each and every one of these financial institutions offering them to offer you the rate.
Yes.
You parked $5 million of money into a certificate of deposit that offered a high rate, in anticipation that in the future we're going to be using those funds for planned drainage projects. I mean, we've allocated money from the CARES Act funds that we got that we need to that we haven't spent yet, but we have designated for spending. And so those are the kinds of things that we're doing. So I don't, I'm puzzled at what we're concerned about here. Because this notion that we were being paid a below market rate is just patently false.
Mayor, can I point something out? So in the second quarter of 2021, so if you look at the second quarter of 2021, third quarter of 2021, and fiscal year, the fourth quarter of 2021 on the summary, that $5 million CD generated more interest than the 48.1 million that was in text pool and the 6.8 million in Frost Bank. So in those 3 quarters, that one CD, that's $5 million CD generated more interest revenue than the text pool and the Frost Bank combined.
So I don't understand why anyone would be critical of you in making this decision, because it sounds like it was a very good financial decision for the city of Harlingen.
Yes, sir.
Well,
Thank you.
Mayor, the email that you're providing from Hilltop Securities, right? The one that's in our packet, the one you just gave me, literally states, our review was limited in scope with the primary purpose being to evaluate where the city policy conforms to guidelines of the act. We did not seek to ensure the city funds and procedures are addressed in the policy, nor have we reviewed compliance with the policy or internal controls of the city. Based upon the review, we have reached the following conclusion: that that didn't, because of no changes this time, that we were in compliance with the act.
Right, the Public Funds Investment Act is the overarching federal guidance that.
But we're paying them 6%. We're paying this company 6% to manage our money. And they're not gonna make sure we're in compliance with our own. I mean, that's the whole purpose of having a management company. That's almost like saying, well, if you screw up, we're not gonna, they should be guiding us. There should be some kind of oversight. Right?
In the box, on the letter from Hilltop Securities dated September 1st, 2021, in the box, it says, as a result.
I understand that,
we
sir.
believe, well, this is the point, and I appreciate not being interrupted. As a result, we believe the city of Harlingen investment policy remains in full compliance with state law and recommend no changes.
So I would like to make a motion to hire this company. Again, they're here to, if you want to ask any questions. I know they sent over a contract for the attorney to review. I know they've met the city manager. And I'd like to put it to a vote because I think we can agree to disagree the way you're reading the documents, and the way I read the documents. And also, with all due respect, you know, what I want to verify whatever is being presented is accurate, because I've given you a few examples already of things that not being accurate. Anybody can put a spreadsheet together and put numbers together. We need to verify at the time of the investments, ultimately, where this is the best possible place to put our money. Are we practicing the best possible practices? And is there any room for improvement? And again, you're saying you shopped it out. Did you shop it out to all the banks, or you picked and choose who you called? You know, was there other banks in the city? Were there other banks in the region? Or you just picked a handful and you called and said, okay, how do I not know? How are we to know that it was the best possible? There's got to be ways to look at that. And that's what this company will do.
There's so many banks, we wouldn't be able to
Again,
possibly get every
but
single
that's the
bank.
point.
Yeah.
Our job is to make sure that we're getting the best possible return, Robert. Simple. And provide you with the tools to make that happen.
Robert, you mentioned
So
earlier,
I'm sorry, but so again, I think we can go back and forth. And all due respect, vote how I'm going to vote, how I want to vote, and vote my conscience, right? And I really think it's that important. We need to look into this and look forward to getting it done for our city. So I'd like to make a motion to hire them based upon pending the approval of a contract with agreement with that's fair that the attorney agrees to, and the terms that are agreed to with the city manager as far as payment and scope of work and dollar amount, right? So that's my motion.
Second.
I have some questions.
Yes.
We have a motion and a
Yeah,
second.
We have
Richard,
a motion and a second, so now there's discussion.
Yes, sir.
okay, so Richard, you said we're paying somebody 6%. Who are we paying 6%?
That's the Hilltop Securities
We're paying them 6% of what?
of the portfolio. That's what I was told.
We're paying on 30 or 40, $50 million, we're paying them
The
6%.
The total investment, 6%. Yes.
We're paying,
You have
Hill-
that information?
It's based on a tiered, I didn't bring it with me, but it is based on a tiered, based on the portfolio.
And it's 6%, right?
I'm not, I don't remember the exact
It's six-
percentage.
Well, the document I saw was 6%.
okay, and do you realize Hilltop Securities is a bank?
Yes?
Okay. Question then, so I'm surprised Gabe is still here and you haven't fired him yet, because last meeting, you said he disrespected you. And that's why you fired Dan Cerna, because he didn't have
When
Dan
did
here.
I say he disrespected me?
At the last meeting, you said,
One at a time, gentlemen.
you said that he disrespected you because you wanted Ann here and Ann wasn't here. So the question,
You're out of order. You're out of order, and I'll ask the officer to escort you out if you make another outburst. For that.
so my question is do you think Gabe's a crook?
Mayor, that's a point of order. That has nothing to do with the.
Do you think Robert's a
So-
crook? Our
Yeah.
finance director?
What's wrong with being transparent, Mike?
He is.
You're a
transparent.
you're a
He is-
financial guy.
He is transparent.
Mike, when you provide a
He-
document that's a three-party agreement with two signatures on it,
Okay.
you're a financial
Okay, all
guy.
right.
You know
Do-
better than that.
do you-
Use your
All right,
skill set
not
better.
gonna ask-
Do you
don't
think,
ask- Don't ask, why don't you just,
okay,
say
do
what
you
you
think
wanna say.
I'm
Texas
more
Regional
disappointed with
Bank,
your skill set.
all right, I'm gonna let.
do you
Mr.
think
Besmar
Texas
continue.
Regional Bank is a crook? Do you think the FHLB is a crook?
If they cannot provide me a document, a simple document on $5 million, then they're at minimum incompetent.
So TRB is incompetent is what you're
Well,
saying.
if they can't provide our finance director upon request, a simple copy of a document after you gave them $5 million, that's a problem.
Is the Federal Home Loan Bank incompetent?
Wow. You know,
So I have a question on this Safe Global Services. Who are these people and what are they going to charge? And then and then what do you expect from this?
I expect the full compliance. You make sure we're in compliance. I
And if-
expect to find out the who, where, when did all this happen? Verified all this happened. You know, check, you know.
Here, guys, we'll make your work easier. You could have my copies. So how much is this going to cost?
You have a
I have
contract.
a question before we get to the cost.
Hold on, you know what? Can I just make a comment real quick before you start that?
Let's let Mr. No, we're
May I?
gonna let Mr. Commissioner
May I?
Morales, his question.
May I?
Go ahead,
All
Richard.
right, thank you. How much did it cost us by not putting that money into drainage? Talk about how much money it costs the citizens because we don't have proper drainage. We didn't invest, we had money to invest into a CD. So for safekeeping, but we don't have money to invest into proper drainage. And for a neighborhood that probably costs millions of dollars, Mike, I'm talking to you. Mike, I'm
Go
talking
ahead.
to you. I'm over here.
Yeah.
Millions of dollars, Mike. It costs neighborhoods because we didn't put proper drainage. But Waterworks has $9 million to put in. We have an extra $5 million. There's better use for that money.
We have to have,
But go ahead.
we have to have 100, he gave me the floor.
We have it.
That's right. We have to have 120 days for emergencies.
We have it.
We have drainage planned for. We have
Sure.
grants outstanding we're looking for to help the taxpayers with the drainage. All of this costs tens and tens of millions of dollars. And the city has spent, what, $20 million or so in the last 10, 11 years?
26.
$26 million in drainage. And obviously that's not enough.
Right?
But you can't borrow from Peter to pay Paul to put in drainage and bankrupt the city, okay? Now, but we're talking about the investment policy, and the investment policy is in short-term paper by law. And so we can't buy notes or bonds. It has to be short-term paper, bills and CDs and money markets. We can't buy precious metals, we can't buy stocks, we can't buy anything, just short-term paper. And as a result of the interest rates being so low, we and all other municipalities lose tons and tons of money to inflation. But there's nothing we can do about that. We have to invest according to the law. And thank you, Frank Morales.
Thank you, Frank. Commissioner Morales.
We've all heard of some guy named Ronald Reagan. And when he dealt with the Russians, his thing was trust but verify. Okay, keep that in mind. On Wednesday, we had a lady that spoke and reminded me, well, actually, should have reminded all of us, that our number one principle, our number one boss is them, the public.
Exactly.
Okay. And if we look at some of our information, they're first, not us. Yeah, I do have a question or two. Yes, sounds like Texas Regional Bank is the one to do business with. Are these the only banks that you went to?
Yes, sir, those are the ones that we quoted, yes.
Okay. One thing that makes me wonder, if we start looking through who the board members are throughout, a lot of them happen to be with Texas Regional Bank. Is that a coincidence? I don't know. But you know what? Let's go back to that quote. Trust but verify. I trust you that you're doing the right thing, but I'd rather turn around and make sure and verify that everything is up to speed across the board. And if Commissioner Mesmar says, this is the gospel, this is the truth, they'll let us know. Now, my next question is to the gentlemen that are here. I want to know what their background is. What have you done? Por favor.
I had a quick question.
Oh, there you are.
Well, Commissioner, could we, he's asked.
Oh, okay, good. I'm sorry.
So he's asked a question of this gentleman.
My question right off the bat is, what's your background? How long has this company been in existence?
The company's been in existence since 2008, sir.
2008.
My background, I was a former FBI agent. I was in the FBI for 23 years.
So FBI for 23 years.
Yes, sir.
I see another gentleman with you. Obviously, he's your partner. Was he also?
Yes, sir. He was a former FBI as well. And I have a staff of different types of ex-law enforcement, both federal and state, that we rely on for due diligence or investigations.
Okay, so we're not dealing with any slouches here, are we?
I think that's.
Thank you. I guess I'll pass the floor to Mr. Pettis, Commissioner Pettis.
I just had a quick question. I think Frank asked it, but I couldn't hear over the Zoom. Robert, so I just wanted to verify, because I think Frank asked you this question, but I couldn't hear the answer.
Yes, sir.
Were these the only banks that you got quotes from?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that's all I want to know.
I mean, there's not a minimum or a maximum in the investment policy. Those are just the ones, the larger ones that we tried to select that were available.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Robert.
You're welcome.
Okay. Have you spoken with any of these gentlemen or any of your firm spoken? Who have you spoken with?
Commissioner
Mr. Uribe, anybody, anyone else?
No, sir.
Okay. I know that you're very, must be very good at what you do and you have a very successful company, but I went to your website and I looked at the services that you offered. And here's the menu of services you offer. Armed and unarmed security guards, video monitoring systems, escorted transportation services, GPS tracking and panic buttons, first responders, safe alert system, safe training courses, conduct due diligence and background investigations, and regional intelligence consultation.
Yes, sir.
I don't see anything in here about performance auditing or forensic auditing.
We do quite a bit.
But it's not something that you apparently specialize in
We
because you
don't-
don't advertise it on your website. Right.
That is correct. That is correct.
So are there any purchasing issues, purchasing requirement issues with regard to entering into a contract with this firm?
Well, I believe if the staff were to do that, we have to follow the city's purchasing policy. But I think the city attorney has determined that that policy would not apply to the city commission. Is that correct?
That's.
All right, and so we already, the commission has already gone through a process where we've asked for requests for proposals. And we've evaluated several different auditing firms. And we selected Ernst and Young to perform a performance audit on the public works system over similar issues, concerns, or questions. I don't understand why we wouldn't want to go add Ernst and Young, who's already been vetted by the commission. We've already seen all of their requests for proposals. Why we wouldn't go back to Ernst and Young and ask them to add this to the list of things to do.
That would be up to the commission to make that determination. They are going to be here.
I mean, they're a nationally recognized, a national big three accounting firm that, as they indicated to you in your performance in their proposals to the commission, they can perform both performance audit services, and they can perform forensic accounting services. But Safe Global Services, you know, doesn't appear to be something you specialize in. That's all I would say. You can do that, but it's not something.
May I ask you a few questions?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever had any business relationships with Commissioner Uribe?
No, sir, not.
Did you find him or did he find you?
They found me.
Okay, but do you have any CPAs on your staff?
No, I do not.
Okay, do you have any lawyers on your staff?
No, I do not.
Okay. Backing up what the mayor says, it seems to me that we need a legal department and we need a auditing department with CPAs to look for anything out of the ordinary. And no offense to you,
None taken, sir.
but this doesn't seem to be your bailiwick.
Well, you can vote against it if you like.
All right, is there?
And so the question
we
is
have a
what's this
first
going to
and other-
cost?
Yeah, go ahead.
Nobody's answered that question. What's it cost? What would you charge, sir?
Typically about $100,000 for.
$100,000.
Typically, and not this time. We'll obviously-
Sure, it could be more, it could be less.
Well, we've already talked a little bit about it with the attorney, 80,000 is what I'm willing to do.
I'm sorry,
80,000 for the investigation?
we've gone from 100,000 to 80,000 now.
Yes, sir.
And doing this, since you don't have any CPAs or lawyers on staff, what are you looking for?
Compliance issues, sir.
Compliance. Okay.
Sir, can you please let them know the just a handful of the companies you do work for, or that you've done work for,
Fortune 500
and these kind of
companies.
compliance?
I mean, we've done investigations for Ford out of Detroit.
You've done financial investigations?
No, investigations.
This is
There's
an
a
investi-
difference.
No, it's not. This is an investigation, Mike. This is
So
why-
you suspect criminal behavior on the behalf of the staff of the
I
city of
hope not, Mike.
Harlingen?
I hope
You
not.
hope not, but there is a suspicion there
Well-
that we hire criminals.
I hope not.
My job will be to basically look at compliance issues in this matter. Obviously, if there's something there, we will report it.
Gabe, what did y'all settle on with Ernst and Young to do the performance audit for the public works?
$60,000. $60,000 for phase one.
That's for the first phase.
So,
And that's a different type of review, sir.
It's identical review.
so we can
I
get
have
a
a
better
question.
value with somebody's art that we've already approved and we're working. I didn't hear.
Great.
Commissioner Pettis?
Yes, I had a question to the gentleman. Have you worked with any municipalities in the past?
Yes, I have, as a consultant, and basically trying to keep them out of problems. I work with the city of McAllen, Mission, and FAR.
But you've not done financial
No, sir.
reviews.
No.
It's a whole
This
different
is
bailiwick,
compliance review, Mike.
once again.
It's not financial. This is compliance review. This is verifying the information being provided. right? Wouldn't you want to know that our monies are secure? Wouldn't you want to know that those rates were the best rates out there available? Wouldn't you want to know that we are following the best practices available?
Hilltop Security says we are, and from what our finance director,
Well, but
Robert, presented,
But they
In
literally say that they don't do that.
in comparison to the other investments available on that day, Texas Regional Bank won. And now you're implying political
And
connections.
I really wish she would have shown up to the
And
meeting.
Mr.
I invited her to the meeting. She didn't show up.
And Mr. Morales said that there could be political connections here. We're
I
doing, yes, you did. We're giving money to the bank because of who they are.
That's true, true.
Well, sir, we have.
Again, I would encourage the commission to, with all due respect to you gentlemen, because I know that, and I respect your service. I thank you for your service. And we appreciate what you've done for our nation in serving the Federal Bureau of Investigation. But with all due respect, I would encourage the commission to, if they want to go forward with some sort of review of the investment policy and practice of to use Ernst & Young, which is somebody who've already engaged. So is there any other discussion?
Quick question. Well, not question, just observation. I agree this needs to be done. I do agree with that, but I find myself in a rare position where I actually agree with Mike. It doesn't seem to me that this company, again, no offense, has the experience that's necessary. I mean, I would assume that for something like this, because like how Richard said, we're hoping there's nothing, there, but in case there was, I mean, I think it would be a good idea to have lawyers or also CPAs as part of the staff that would be doing this investigation. And I mean, I just don't honestly feel comfortable with this specific company. I mean, I would agree with the Ernst & Young. Like I said, I agree that this needs to be done. I agree wholeheartedly that needs to be done, but I just don't agree that this firm would be the one that we should choose. Is there a possibility that we could reach out to Ernst & Young and then have them see if they would be able to do this work for us, and then we can vote on it on the next meeting?
No, sir, that's not my motion.
Okay.
The difference really is that the Ernst & Young is doing a
Performance
forensic
audit.
investigation with public services in particular, and that's it. This
No, I
is just
understand
a-
that.
Okay,
I
but this
understand
is
that,
just,
but
this
you
is
can
just a
add to it.
compliance review. And so like the gentleman said, that's all they do is they review compliance. And so it's not, it's not necessarily investigation. We're just trying to make sure that we're in compliance and it's done the right way. Robert had said earlier that, they've been doing this since back in the 60s. So I think this would be a good tool to, I guess, update and improve the system and the procedures, and to make sure that we're following compliance.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with everything you're saying. I just don't agree with, I just don't think that this company would be the one to do it because they don't have the necessary experience.
Well, Rini, with all due respect, maybe you got to, I got to meet them. I got to look at their operation. And I would encourage you to reach out to them, and maybe you can do the same. And I think you change your mind. I don't think they get any better. Okay.
Well, then how
So-
about, I mean,
so
then
what-
I'm
what-
down for tabling it if you want for the next meeting.
No, well, I want to get this done. I don't think it can wait.
Okay.
This is really, really important, and I respect, the things the questions you're bringing up, but I would not have brought them to the table if I didn't think they could do the job. So we have a first and a second, sir. So I don't want.
So this is, you mentioned flood and drainage. So this will be $80,000 that we don't use for flood or drainage control.
All right, any other discussion? If you vote against it, you can still make another motion to employ Ernst & Young to do the performance audit. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Opposed.
Okay.
All right, motion carries.
I look forward to working with you. Thank you so much for your time.
I guess we have a,
I would like that to be.
you have to,
Yeah.
I don't know whether the motion
I would-
included
let me-
approving,
let me
having legal
propose-
counsel approve the project.
Yeah,
Approve the
what I
contract.
was gonna suggest is this, you set a fee. We have a term for the basic services, let's say 45, 60 days, whatever they finish. We define the basic services. Anything beyond that, that basic fee is extra services and has to be approved by the city manager in writing, have both sides. So we keep them to the agreed upon fee. And if you want to bring it back to the commission for change orders, that's fine. However you want to do it. But
All
I
right,
think
did
it's
your,
fair.
did your motion,
I'll
did your motion
yes.
include was it intended to be approved?
Subject to approval.
Subject to approval of the
Yes,
city
sir.
attorney?
Done.
All right, well then, with that interpretation of the motion, then we'll entrust you with dealing with the particulars of the agreement. That being all there is before the commission, we have no other further business, and so we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome. I got that.
Uh,
It's not even signed.